Hey everybody, welcome to the penultimate, that means second to last, class of Advanced Programming with Java here at Portland State University for the summer of 2020. Can't believe we're almost done. I have to admit, seems like this summer term is ending a little bit earlier in August than it has in years past, which I kind of don't mind. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more summer because class is almost over. But enough about me. People are waiting in the room. We've got lots of great stuff tonight. We are going to be talking about Android, and it's going to be mainly me taking some questions, answering them as best as I can. So we'll start out with Prime Minister's questions. We will talk about the final exam. We'll get all that out of the way, and then we're going to write some Android. I'm going to be showing you, we're going to talk about activities and how to create a new one, how to lay them out. We're going to talk about the list view widget and how you can list, how you can view a bunch of data there. We're going to be talking about passing data back and forth in between activities. And we'll finish off by learning how to write files to the disk. And so then I hope that that gives you lots of pieces parts. Maybe it gives you a little bit more depth than what you've been explaining, that you've been exploring on your own, to then get you well underway to writing your Android application. So some good stuff coming tonight. But let's, as always, start off with Prime Minister's questions. It was a very quiet week on Slack. I figure it's because just everything made so much sense in Android, and not that maybe you're catching up in all your other classes or just trying to die of heat stroke or something like that. So let's take some time to get your questions answered, because this will be the last opportunity to do so. Next week, of course, is the final exam and is also the end of the term. Project 5 is due, and Project 5, since it, for a couple of reasons, kind of has to be done right on time. I grade those; the graders don't. So that's something that I do, and I have limited time. And also, we have to tabulate all the final grades and stuff. So I will try to give feedback to people that submit earliest to make sure that everything can build and everything looks okay. But this is kind of the last mile of the marathon we've been running. So please plan your time and execute accordingly. But what would you like to know? What's on your mind? I hope people have had a chance to start playing with Android. Any questions or topics you'd like to explore with regards to what we've done so far? Awkward silence. Okay. That's all right. Okay. Well then, easy enough. Let's talk about the final exam. So the final exam is next week during class. Couple of things. Because this is an attend anywhere class, the final exam is administered via Canvas. So even if you choose to come to campus, which is an option, actually it's the last day. Weather might be nice, it'll be good. I'm buying the beer afterwards. Feel free to come to class and take you'll take the take the final exam in class, or if you are remote, you can take it remotely too. However, the final exam on Canvas is only open during class time. As a matter of fact, it's the first, 50 minutes or something like that of class. So you have to take it in real time. It doesn't need to be here in the classroom. There are two portions of the final exam. Oh, question? Yeah. If you have accommodations, then reach out to me and we'll figure it out. Yep. If you need it. And so there are two components to the final exam. The first part is an individual part. It is written text-based, so it's not writing on a piece of paper, it's on Canvas. And it's short answer questions. It's essentially 2 quizzes worth. Any topic that was discussed in class, that is basically, on the class homepage, is fair game. And so I know some lectures were emphasized more than others, It'll be focused mainly on the stuff that you did on your projects, but any topic is fair game. And in terms of resources, it's open book, open notes, meaning that any resource that is on my website and basically begins with a URL, web.cs.pdx.edu/Hilda that's fair game. So you can use that as a resource. So you can look at the PDFs, you can look at the assignments. However, you can't leave. So you can't go to YouTube, you can't go to, and even if it's linked here, nope. Not that there's going to be a question on Java coding conventions, but for instance, you couldn't use that as a resource. So anything that is posted on my website is a resource that you can use. Otherwise, it's the honor system, and please don't look on Stack Overflow, don't look things up, and certainly do not work with each other or put out a call on your favorite social media. That is cheating, and that's not right. Yeah. Past quizzes. I guess so. If you can see them on Canvas. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yes, and so if you want to look on Canvas for resources, I think that would be appropriate too. Yes, because if we had paper that you got back, then you'd be able to use that too. Yep. Good. What else? It's timed. Again, it's like 40 or 50 minutes or something like that. I think there are 6 questions. And that's part 1. Okay. The second part is a group project. It is not coding, so we're done group coding. So no pair programming, no mob programming. Instead, it's a group discussion. And so we'll have breakout rooms for the people who are on Zoom, and people here in the classroom can choose to either join the Zoom if you don't want to be in close proximity to people, but you still want to go for beer afterwards. Or you can work with people here. And it is a topic related to computer science, but it's not something that you can really study for. It's really just having a good conversation and being creative in some problem solving. And I think that's pretty much it for last week. I'll also say some final words. We'll play that song. I hope you had your time of your life from the 90s. It'll be great. No. Okay. Any questions about the final exam? You've been asking about it for like 4 weeks straight now. So I hope that was satisfying. Oh, a study guide. Again, it's anything in the course is fair game. What I would recommend is familiar, sort of like put together like the table of contents, either in your head or sort of say, oh yeah, what are the the primary topics. So if you see a question, you're like, oh right, that was about hey, what is an iterator? Oh right, yeah, that's the collections API, that's in the core, right, something like that. But I think that's probably the most reasonable thing is oh, and I guess if you have to well, of course, you do have to choose between allocating time to Project 5 or the final exam. Remember that the final exam is only worth 12 points. Project 5 is worth, I don't know, more than 12 points, I believe. Yeah, 15 points. So, don't spend, 27 hours studying for the final exam and neglect your Project 5. It's probably better to divide your time evenly and maybe spend a little bit more on Project 5. As you might see a question about Android on the final exam. Stranger things have happened. Question is, do I know if I'll be graded on a curve? I don't. I need to see the final grades, and that'll determine, right? And so then I basically look at the distribution, and if for whatever reason it's like way out of whack, and it's been a long time since it's been way out of whack. There's something about just like I think the nature of the content of the course that seems to distribute the students the grades the way I'd like. So it's unlikely that I'll be grading on a curve. which means that, like, if you got your midterm survey and you've been doing the math at home and you have like a 27%, you're probably not going to do very well. But, it also means that, hey, if you've got like, a 92, that actually might be an A minus, not an A. But that's, yeah, so there's not much coming, but it's doubtful it'll be a curve. That's a good point. If there was a grade and here a curve, and then again, there rarely is, it would be on the final grade. So I would look at the distribution of the final grades, not grading a curve per assignment. That's too much math, right? And actually too subjective. In a class where there's only like 4 assignments that count, yes, that makes sense. Here you have lots of chances to mess up your grade. So to contribute to your grade, and so then no, I don't grade on a curve for each one. I think most people are doing fine. So. Question came in from the chat. Compared to the quizzes, what's the difficulty level? I'd say it's about the same, honestly. It's about twice as long as a quiz. So each quiz has about 3 questions. The final exam, I think, has 6, and it's the same style of questions. It's a short answer question about some aspect of the course, which Java programming or I don't remember the questions are. Anyway, as you know. And also, there could be a question about pair programming or unit testing or some of the non-Java things, how REST works. I don't remember. Yeah. Someone comments, oof. I understand where final exams are stressful. And how they're comprehensive in nature. And I know certainly I can think back on my academic career, and there were some very stressful and very messed up final exams that I've taken. I hope that this isn't one of them for you. And again, if you think about where to dedicate your time, recommend that you focus more on the project, or at least focus at least equally on the project and on the final exam. Well, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay. Someone just got what they needed. Cool. Anything else on the final exam or questions before we dive into Android programming? Cool. Okay, let's get up Android Studio. So last week, we broke ground on Android. We created the Android project using Android Studio. We installed all of the Android tools. We saw all of that. We saw how to create an Android project and run it in the emulator. So I just got to de-zoomify my windows here. Make that thing hidden. Okay. And so here we have Android Studio, which is a souped-up version of IntelliJ that's customized to work with Android applications. And we can run. Oh, I didn't want tests. Wait a second. Sorry. I just want the app. And I will run this on the emulator. So what Android Studio allows you to do is develop an Android application by being able to easily edit and navigate between the source code, the Java source code, and then the layouts, the visual layout of the activities in your application. An activity is essentially a screen in an Android application. And Android Studio takes care of building your application, so compiling the Java files, analyzing the resource files. Actually, the resource files get compiled into Java objects that are run on the Java VM, just like your activities and such. And then everything in your sorry, do I have the device manager? Is it running? Yeah, I guess it's just taking a while. Then then the application gets built and assembled and deployed to an emulator. In this case, it's an emulator of a Google Pixel 2 running API 29. Yes, where is my emulator? Oh, it's already running. It's just in a different window. No, it's just taking forever to display itself. Maybe it has. Oh, interesting. Wait, there's the emulator. There it is. Now just off screen. Great. And so here's your application. It's it looks a lot like a phone app. As a matter of fact, we turned off the device frame, but this is the way it looks. But I want to make it a little bit bigger so we can read it more easily. So that I can read it more easily. My eyes are getting old, and so now there it is. It's big, and you've got everything that you want on a phone, an Android phone. You've got the 3 buttons down here. So you've got like the plus that will go back to the home screen, and you can click there, and you click with the mouse like you would touch with your finger. And so then you've got buttons that will respond to events. In this case, it displays the 2-string of a phone call, because we saw last time how you can then import the abstract phone call and the abstract classes from my code and then use it in your code. So we got this very simple application up and running last time. And what we'll do today is we will extend it to show off some additional things that you can do with Android development, the kinds of things that you might want to do in your own projects. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a new activity. So in this little sample application here, I'm going to augment it with a new activity that displays a very simple calculator, right? You can input 2 numbers and add them together, that kind of thing. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is make a new activity. And the easiest way to do that is to have Android Studio do the heavy lifting. And you say here under the new menu, you can say new activity. And let's just do an empty activity. That's that just kind of starts over from scratch. You can use whatever kind of activity you want. Sometimes a basic activity is the right thing. I like using just empty activities. We're going to call it calculator activity. Calculator activity. And yes, please generate a layout file. The layout is that XML file that contains all of the widgets and view groups to lay out the widgets, the views. It is not a launcher activity. Package name, it is in Java, and it's part of the main source set. That's great. Yeah, question on that. Yeah, I believe launcher activity. Well, either that or it's like the first activity to come up when you're like the main activity, right? I think it's the one that is launched. Yeah. Or maybe it just means that it's launched when the app is launched. Okay, click finish, and so then it'll create a new one. It goes rebuild the project because you now have a new activity. Let's take a quick look at the files that have changed. We got some new files that are in green. We have a calculator activity, which basically just does very little. It has an onCreate method. Why is it so green? I guess it's changed. And then there is a layout file, and then it's also the Android manifest has changed to say that to just name it as an activity. All the activities are listed here in the manifest so that the Android tools know what all of the activities are. So those are questions. So we're packaging a jar in IntelliJ, then importing it into Android Studio. So ideally, there will be no phone bill code in our Android project. No. Just like in Project 4, where you copied in your files, copy them in here again. When you submit everything within your Android project and nothing more. So please do. So my abstract phone bill stuff, which is in the projects artifact, the projects dependency, yes, you depend on that. But your code, just copy in here, right? You don't publish your jar file to a Maven repository, right? And otherwise, I couldn't build it because I would, when I get your source code, if your source code depends on your jar and it's not published to a public Maven repository, I wouldn't be able to use it. So please, just like in Project 4, copy in the code that you need, which is probably like your phone bill and your phone call and your pretty printer, maybe not a printer, but certainly the text dumper and text writer. But thanks for asking the question. That's an important thing. So we've got some a new activity now. Right now in our application, this activity just isn't used. There's nothing there. So what I'm going to, I'll just add these to GitHub. Why not? So let's see here. Added code for a new calculator activity, and I'll commit that and push it up to GitHub. Now, right now, this activity is sort of hanging out there, but it's never displayed. So let's change our button in the. Let's see. Let's get rid of some of this stuff here. Running a phone call. Let's change our button in the main activity. Instead of saying hello, let's rename this to launch calculator. And when we did the rename, what was cool is not only did it rename it here, but it also renamed the usage of it over here in the XML that defines the button. And what the button does is when you click it, it'll call, instead of calling say hello, now it calls launch calculator. That's one of the nice things about using tools like Android Studio is that it knows about the XML files that correspond to the activities. As a matter of fact, you just navigate to it by clicking on this. Just go to that layout file. And remember, we have the design view in addition to the code view. Actually, we'll get back to that in a second. Okay, so now when we launch the calculator, instead of making a toast for the phone call, we want to launch the calculator. Launch the calculator activity. Now, you can learn a lot more about this in the lectures, but the way that one activity launches another is by using something called an intent. Now, an intent is kind of a pretty cool object. It basically says, I want to do something. And sometimes that can be expressed as like, I want to display an image. It doesn't necessarily know how to display the image, but it's like, hey, go display the image. Or, hey, I want to send an email, right? It is just saying something either very generic, like go perform, go fetch this piece of data, or go display this piece of data, this information. Or it can be something very specific, like, okay, go launch this other activity. It's all nice and generic. So the way you do this is that you create an intent. Let's call it here. And a new intent. If we look at the constructor, it's got various things. It has actions and URIs, but what we want is the one that is the package context and then the class. So here, I think the package context, we just use this. That basically tells it like what application that it's in. And the class is the name of, or a class is, this is the class for the activity that we want to launch, which is going to be calculator activity.class. And so you create the intent, and then you say start activity, and you give it an intent. So we're basically saying, hey, when you click the button, call this launch calculator, and this says create an intent. It's like, I intend to, and I don't know, it's kind of like the cloud, I intend to launch the calculator activity. That's my intent. And like, okay, go start the activity, and here's the intent that describes the activity that you want to launch. So now, hide these buttons. Now, I'm pretty sure, well, do we need to, how does we just run the app? So now when we launch the, I should probably change the text on that also. Instead of, where's activity? Sorry, main activity. So the button instead of, click me, I don't want to say click me anymore. Can I rename it from here? I want to say, yep, launch calculator. And then I want to change the value of that to be launch calculator. Nice. I'm just going to try apply changes. Is that going to work? That's usually the fast way to deploy things. So I just changed the label. That should be pretty easy. Oh, no, didn't like it. Install and restart the app. Okay. There it is, restarted the app. Now it says launch calculator. And when I click launch calculator, it displays an empty activity because there's nothing in the calculator yet. Actually, let's go put something in there just so that we can see. Let's go to the activity calculator. And then let's just put a new text view in here. And actually, it's not going to lay that out nicely at all. We will fix that later. And we'll just say, this is a calculator. Oops. I thought I could edit the text here. I guess I can't. Okay. We will just go over here. We will look for, where's the search? Search text. There we go. Text is, this is a calculator. Oh, it's a calculator. And then now we probably need to redeploy again. So this is off building and running. There, it deployed, it uninstalled it, and now it's going to reinstall it. Now I say launch calculator. The calculator up here, but it's in the wrong place. So we'll fix that shortly. So anyway, that is how you launch one activity from another. You have a button, or you have some way of when you want to launch it, you create a new intent for that calculator activity. Sorry, for that activity, and then you call start activity from one activity to another. Oh, and you can use the back arrow to go back. Okay, let's commit that code. And by the way, all this is going up to my summer 2022 repository. So let's see here, launch calculator activity by clicking a button. Okay, well, the calculator activity right now is kind of lame. Doesn't do very much. So let's see here. There's activity calculator. And as a matter of fact, we want to not say that. I want to have like little, input a number plus another number equals another number. And so now you want to do some widget design. So I want to have, first of all, I want to have a bunch of widgets that are all in a row. And so for that, actually, I'm going to get rid of this thing. I said we want to have the layout. I want a linear layout that's horizontal. And that's pretty big. Oops. Where'd it go? Like the whole thing? That's not really what I want. Oh, wait, wasn't this? Yeah, constraint layout. So I want this to, this is where I always sort of need to look at the raw XML. Let's see here. Layout width measure, blah, 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 blah. Oh, right. What I need to do is I need to put a linear view, sorry, a linear layout, and then set all this constraint to the bottom and top of the parent. That's what I need to do. And you can read about this either in the documentation or it's covered in the lecture notes a little bit too. So here's my constraint layout, and the thing I'm going to add here is a linear layout. It knows all about that. It wants the width, that can be match parent, means it's going to be as wide as parent. The height, we want this to be wrap content, which means that we want it to be just big enough for the for that. Still doesn't like it. What doesn't it like? What is it complaining about? Oh, missing constraints. Yes, because we also need these constraints. so I think I can just put those two and it'll be enough. I think that'll be right. Oh, now it doesn't like. Come on, how come it's not complaining? How do I find out what that is? Yes. What is the one warning? There it is. Oh, because it has no children. That is true. We'll put some children in it shortly. But now if we go and let's see here, we look at it, it's empty because there's nothing there. Okay, so let's add something else. Make our XML look nice. And inside it, let's see here, we'll have a, let's just put a text field, or sorry, a text view. Now actually we want to edit text, I guess. So we want to have a text box, and its width will be, we'll just have it wrap the content, and the height will be also wrap the content. And what is it talking about now? Let's see here. Text field is not such an input type. Yep. So then let's fix that. Oops. Set input type. The input type is, what are, to give you choices, we want this to be a number. Nice. Okay. Let's see here. Autofill hints attribute. Okay, and so then Android is very nice. It sort of gives you best practices to say, oh, hey, you have a text field. It should really have a little prompt to tell you what goes in there. Very nice. We're going to ignore that for now. Actually, maybe can I just do that? Can I say suppress? Yeah, both autofill and then label for we're not going to need either. Well, it's highlighted, so we're just going to have there you go. It even tells you. Anyway, so the cool thing is that Android Studio, will do all this XML stuff for you. But we just edit text inside our linear layout, and now if we go back to design, it's all the way down here at the bottom. That's kind of lame. So, oops, let's make this a little bigger. So what did I do wrong? It doesn't like something. Toggle visibility of issue panel. Touch target size too small. No single text. Okay, that's not what I'm worried about right now. It's not displayed in the middle. So let's see here. Constraint bottom to bottom of parent to constraint end. That's not really what I want. I want, actually, can I do this in the designer? This is where it always gets me. I want to put that one up there. That looks a little better. That's more like what I want. Oops. And then, okay. Yeah, how did that change it, I wonder? Where did I get it wrong there? Oh yeah, constraint top to top of parent. That's cool. Okay, so I want edit text there, and then I want to say that's one number that you input, and now I'll just want text view that has the width of wrap content and the height is wrap content, and I want the text of this to be just a plus. And it's probably complaining that it's not a string. Yeah, okay, so make a string resource out of that. Extract string resource, I'll just call it plus. There's a little happier now. So now let's go back to the design. Yeah, that's just way too small. Oh, there's not very nice padding there. I want to have this centered. So I wonder if, can I make this, nope. Let's, instead of saying linear layout, width match parent, what if I did wrap content? How does that change things? Okay, that's a little bit better. So now I can do this. Okay, that's kind of what I want. I want this to be centered on the screen. So, as you can see, I'm sort of doing a mix of doing some XML based on what I know of the XML, and then using designer to sort of get this layout constraint thing correct. And I hope it looks okay. And it then fills in all of the stuff with the constraint layout. Because I have to admit, I don't have all that memorized. I'm much better sort of at the basic stuff. Okay. And then we'll have another edit text. I'm just going to copy this, and I'll have another one there. And then I'm going to have a button. So I'm going to have, so the first edit text is the left operand, then it's going to be plus, and then the right operand, and then we're going to have a button which is an equals, which will actually eventually go and compute the sum of the two. But here the text is going to be equals. And then extract string resource, I'm going to call that equals. And then I'm going to have, I guess I'll just have a regular text view then, which displays the sum. Wrap content, and then, yeah, it's not going to contain anything else. So let's take a look at that. Ooh, that button is huge. And there isn't I'm not seeing a text view. Well, maybe I should put preview text. I'm just going to put sum in there and see if that actually displays. Oh, yeah, it is. You just can't see it yet. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, instead of just having to be a text, I'm going to have that be an edit text. I think you can make it uneditable. Edit text, and I'm going to say editable. No, what do you say? Can't remember the name of the. Oops, can't remember the name of the property there. So it's not editable. It is, come on, input type. There you go. Input type, and what are the options? Input type, number, text. Oh, interesting. Well, I want it to be a number, but I don't want it to be editable. I wonder input type none. I wonder if that will give me what I want. Yep, that is not, that might be right. So I'm going to get rid of that text of sum. What is it complaining about? Oh, that label in auto for, okay. Oops. Just ignore all that stuff. Cool. Okay, no warnings. So now what I've got is that button is super ugly. Let's make it a little more narrow. So the button width, is that really what I want? Yeah, and I want that to be, so the width is in like the number of M's. So if I make it 3 M's, what I think it's like 3 characters. Well, oh wait, what doesn't it like? Oh, oh, interesting. Okay, so it doesn't have M's anymore. Okay, that's cool. 3 DPs, that's probably not device pixels. So let's make it 30. How does that look? Nope. Can I do this and make it? Maybe I can. Or maybe I can. Okay. I should probably put some padding around this. I wonder if we can do that with the layout. Is there like a? Well, I won't do that right now. Maybe we can do that later. Anyway, so I'm walking through all this to show you this is how you develop the UI, right? There's a lot of sort of trial and error as you put in the widgets. You need to know what widgets are, available to you, and you can use sometimes the visual editor because that's easier. There we go. Oh, now I can't see the equal sign anymore. And sometimes you can use the XML because, I mean, for me, this makes things a little bit more clear because I only see the attributes that I've set as opposed to like here where there's like a gazillion attributes, and so it's hard for me to know which ones are set. Okay, so now I've designed this UI, and so let's deploy it to the apps to see if it looks as good when it's run on the emulator as it does in the designer. Nice. Okay, that's the way it looks. And so then, you know what? I'm not too happy with this because I can only put like, oh no, it gets bigger. Okay, cool. And then I can just, tab here. And because it's a number, I can't type letters, which I actually can't see that I'm doing now. And let's see here, and this one should not be editable, right? Yay. Oh, wait. Oh, I can put, oh darn, I thought that was not editable. Okay. So now this is when we go to the help, and I'm going to say Android text, actually not edit text, not editable. Yeah, input type equals none. Wonder why that didn't work. Oh, enabled. Oh, but you can do it in the code. Well, that's interesting. So I thought I did input type equals none on that one. Let's just go check it out. Oh, it's got complaints all over the place. The touch target size is too small. No speakable text. That text is unspeakable. Anyway. Huh. So input type equals none. Okay, well, I'm not sure why that's not working. I don't want to spend the time to fix that particular bug right now because I have like a visual layout that looks pretty good. So then to review, what we did was we, the way UIs are laid out in Android is that you have all these objects that are composed inside of each other. So let me just do this side by side here. So here, the whole thing is laid out with this app constraint. So the entire activity is laid out with the constraint layout. And inside that is a linear layout. So notice when I click over the XML, it shows in the design editor. That's laid out this way. So basically, a linear layout is a container of other widgets that lay them out in a row. So the children of this linear layout are laid out from left to right. And so then the first one, the first child is this edit text, and then there's this text view, which is the plus sign, and then there's another text. There's another text field which is the right operand. Then you have the button that will be the equals, and then the sum will be that edit text right there. And so then you get that with the linear layout. I suppose we could actually, how do you make it? I think there is a way to make it vertical. How do I do that? Is that orientation? I think it's got a orientation. We can make it vertical, and all of a sudden things are arranged the other way. So linear layout is pretty cool. You can look at some of the other, you can watch the lectures for different kinds of layouts. I kind of do want to make the text fields a little wider. So let's see here. Is it just plain old width, or well, there's max width, and then there's what do we got over here for attributes? Is there a length? Max length. That's probably not it. Num, input type, numeric, phone number. Oh, phone number. That's kind of neat. Anyway, we'll just do the width, and again, let's see here. Oh, 30 pixels or 30 inches is probably not what we want. 30 point. That's what I want. I wanted 3 point. So 3 point. Does that make it any wider? That was kind of nice. It's a little too wide now. So what is that doing? Oh, there you go. Layout.width. Okay, so this is 30 device pixels. That's fine. Okay, so I will do the same thing for the other one. I saw a question come in, so I will answer that right now. A couple questions. So where can I find the lectures that you just mentioned? Was it on YouTube? Yes. Go back to the class homepage and look for the Android lectures. This is either the first or second one. I can't remember. Oh, and then Jacob answered. Thank you very much, Jacob. And then I'll make this one also. I think I'll just make everything 30 pixels, or 30 device points wide. See how that looks. So that have nice feng shui. Not so much because I don't have the equal sign there anymore. Oh, because that's weird. Do I still need this width then? Nope, I don't. Can I make this 30 pixels now, or 30 device points? No, I can't. Cool. Okay. Well, here again, I'm playing around with this. It looks a little nicer now. Let's redeploy it and let's see what I got. Let's calculator. Let's get two numbers now. Great. So basically, what I want to do eventually is to say, 12 plus 34. I'm going to click equals. Then I want to display something. We can do that right now because we haven't hooked anything up. So then let's commit this code right here as it is, and then we will start doing things. It's interesting here that the only thing we've changed is XML. We haven't changed any of the Java code because we haven't added any logic yet. We've just changed the layout. So the only things that have changed are the XML files. So this is add widgets, UI widgets to the calculator activity. Calculator. Oops. Oh, yeah, that did it. Yay, no worries to complain about this time. Okay. So now let's give this something to do. So basically what we want to say is, hey, when I click the equals button, I want to get the value of the two operands, compute their sum, and display that sum in the in this rightmost edit text field. So the first thing I need to do is I need to respond to the button click. So let's go do that. And so then let's go find the onClick attribute, and we will say compute sum. And it will say, hey, this does, oops, come on, let me fix that. Yeah, okay, fine. And I'll say create compute sum calculator activity. Yes, please. So this is the method that's called when the equals method is clicked. And let's just say toast.makeText. Oops, what do they do here? Context is this, and you clicked equals. Let's just make sure that this works. And let's restart our app. Launch calculator, click equals, equals. Yay, okay, good, that works as expected. Okay, now what I need to do, if I put in numbers like 4 and 2, when I click equals, I need to go get the values that are put into those two widgets. So how do we do this? So every widget that we have here can have an ID, and the ID uniquely identifies that widget. So this will be call this one left operand. Oops. And we don't need to, and then we'll call this one right operand. And when we say that at plus ID, that means create a new ID for this right operand. Create a new ID for this widget. You can also use the plus ID notation to reference a widget to say like, oh, I want this to be to the right of this other widget. We're not going to do that right here, but I guess kind of the way, well, parent's something different. So anyway, so we've got a left operand and a right operand. So here in the XML file, we've noted that each of these text fields have an ID, And then we can in the Java code, we can get a reference to the Java object or the object that represents this edit text by saying, what is it called? It's called find view by ID. And then you give it an ID, and this is some special Android magic. So in Android, to optimize things, they put all these IDs into a special class called R. And you say r.id, and then there's one for left operand. And so that's how you reference a widget that's in the UI. And so then we're going to put this into a variable, and we're going to call it left operand. And we want this to be not just a plain old view, we want this to be an edit text. Question? Does R mean the OS? No, R means is for resource. So actually you can reference all sorts of resources. So let's see here. Can I see here? Well, actually, if you just click on R, I think it'll give you. Does this? No, okay, it doesn't actually look at the source code. So you can all sorts of things in resources. You can get IDs of things. You can get. Well, I mean. Oh yeah, okay. Actually, I think can you get strings? Yeah. So you can say r.string. Oops. String dot. And here are the strings. Like the string hello has a resource ID. And so then you can you can get the resources. I think you can actually say, can you say get resource find? How do you do that? Get resource. Sorry, what? You can actually get the strings too. I don't remember how the get string. Yeah. And then you can say r.string.hello. And then I think this will. I mean, let's see what happens when what we do this. You can put that as hello, and then I suppose we could. Well, actually, yeah. Let's do this. Let's make a toast, and the context will be this. The string will be left operand is this, and we'll say left operand dot get text. Oops, get text. So this left operand object. Well, sorry, this left operand is the edit text object that is displayed in your UI. So you're getting the object for that UI element, and you are saying, hey, what's the text inside that? You're doing that, and then I think this will be the resource string, and resource string hello. So let's just see what this does. Question: what's the difference between an app compat activity and fragment? Fragments are a nice optimization for arranging your apps in a different way. To be completely honest, I'm not terribly familiar with them, and so I don't know sort of the pros and cons. They're more modern than activities. For the purposes of this course, just having widgets inside activities is fine. But if you want to do a little bit of extra background reading and learn about fragments, you're free to use them. Just as long as it runs on API 29, really any code is fair game. And technically speaking, you can use other widgeting libraries, but every time a student has tried to do that, it's just been more hassle than it's worth. So you just remember this is your first course in Android, and so it's all about kind of the fundamentals, about the stuff that's been around forever, the beginning concepts. You've got plenty of time. Hey, the rest of summer if you want to learn about more advanced things. Oh, really? The fragment is having problems with find view by ID? Huh. I'm afraid I don't know. And the basic template, as opposed to an empty one. Let's see here. Yeah, switching might be the best way to do that. Just create a basic template if you want to follow along in class. But hey, if anybody else has figured out the right way to do all of that with a fragment, please feel free to chime in here in chat, or actually on the hashtag Project5 channel in Slack would be good for people who aren't here in class or people who want to watch it afterwards. or interact with it afterwards. So now with our calculator, if we put in like the number 4 and use find fragment by ID, that's good, and click equals, now we're going to get a toast that says left operand is 4, oops, and the resource string is hello again, advanced Java programming. That's the that's apparently what's in the hello string. So it is. Anyway, so that's what resources are all about. Resources are the things like are the IDs of that are in your application and your resource strings. Actually, I'm going to change this to left operand. Actually, no, I won't. Okay, so well, we don't want to just get the left operand and print it out. We want to print out the sum. So you have your left operand and you have your right operand, and this will be right operand. And now what we want to do is we want to get the sum of those two numbers. And so then, well, let's see here. Actually, this is, let's call it left. And so that's going to be integer.parsint, left operand.getText, dot toString. And then we're going to have something very similar for right, which will be right operand dot getText as toString, and then we're going to compute the sum is the left plus the right, and let's print this out. So we'll just make a toast, I guess. Oops. And then we'll just say sum is the sum, and we want length long. And so now if we go and relaunch, and we say launch calculator, we'll say 4 plus 5, click equals, the sum is 9. Cool. Okay. Okay, so what have we done so far? We have hooked up an event listener to the equal sign that goes and uses find view by ID to get the objects that correspond to this edit text, the edit text widget for the left operand and the edit text widget for the right operand. And then you've got Java objects, and you can get the value of that by calling getText. GetText returns as this editable, okay, interface or something like that. Get the toString for that to actually get the value, parse those as integers, and then they compute the sum. Now, we just don't want to toast the sum. We want to display the sum in this edit text over here. So what we got to do, we got to go get a reference to that in our Java code. And so that means it'll need an ID. So let's go back over to this guy and add an ID. And we'll say ID is going to be sum. Oops, we don't want to do that. And now back in our calculator activity, we're going to get edit text. Sure, sum. We'll call that one sum also. Yeah. And then actually, well, let's just get that up here. And we'll say find value by ID, r.id.sum. And then we'll compute then sum.set value. Oh, no, sorry, sum.getText.set value. No, how do you do that? Sum dot set text, yeah. No, but that's not exactly what I wanted. Set. Sorry? What was that buffer type? I don't know what that is. Oh, no, it just has to, okay, it does take just a text sequence. So we will say string.value of left plus right. We don't need this anymore. Oops, we need that there. Now we'll run the app. See, so just like doing test-driven development, like make a little change, then you go back and forth, right? And luckily, at least on my machine, it's pretty quick. And it's a pretty simple application. So to rebuild it and redeploy it, it's pretty quick. So now let's do something different. Let's do 3 plus 7 equals 10. Okay, right? Because what do we do here? When you click the equals, it goes and gets the values from the left and right operand. It gets the sum. It converts them to numbers, computes their sum, turns it to a string, and sends it to text. Okay. Question. Yeah, let me commit this code and take a look at the main. Because actually, we didn't change the main in any of this. It was all done inside the calculator activity because we're adding now logic to the widgets in the XML file. So print the sum when the equals button is clicked. The listener is on the button. Yeah, so you just, oops, what did I just do? I want this. I want this. Okay, so the button is the thing with the on click, and that calls compute sum. Now you can have listeners on text fields, and so then like edit text. I mean, let's see here. You can have on. That's probably not a good. There's on key press or something on. Oh, here. It's all in the API documentation. Maybe that's a better place to look. But if we go over to, okay, here we go, on click, does that help if I just say on? No. Let's just go down to O. Oh, maybe it's just on. Oh, that's for the button. Sorry. Let me look at this thing. And then, maybe it just has on click also. I thought there was a way. Maybe there isn't anymore. Or maybe there's some other way of capturing or responding to key events as they come in. Or there's got to be. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. It might be in the lecture actually. Yeah. So like set key listener or something. Set key. Yeah, sorry, it's escaping me right now. Oh, so like that awkward like that thing probably. I don't know how to do it off the top of my head. Yeah, and I don't know if that's actually I don't know if that's like part of Android. I don't know if that's the phone that's doing that. Worth some research because it does look kind of jarring, doesn't it, to have this animation there? Yeah. Oh, you think so? Like the intent might have a. That's kind of cool. So intent animation. I don't know. Well, this is probably worth a quick Google search. Android intent. Well, launch start activity. Start activity. No animation. Oh yeah. Intent add flag. Flag no activity. No animation. Oh, there you go. Or you can just turn it off in the style, I guess. Yeah. Or okay, in the activity, and you can create a style. There's a style or resource. Anyway. Oh, define social. Anyway, it looks like yes. Beyond what I expect for your projects, but that's sort of like okay. So maybe here we could set it to @null or something like that. Interesting. Cool. Yeah, uh, for me as a student, this is many, many years ago now, when I first started doing UI programming, and this was Windows 32 on Windows 95. All of a sudden I saw like my first real API. I hadn't really learned Java yet. Java really wasn't a thing quite yet, but like you start seeing like all this kind of crazy low level stuff that you can do and how you do it. That's one of the reasons I want to introduce UI programming here, because it just is like yet another order of magnitude more complex than even what you saw in your servlet, where you have things like this event-driven programming, and you are interacting with an even richer runtime and set of APIs and all these conventions and the R variable and things like that. It's on change for anyway. It's just good software engineering and good stuff to learn. Okay. You know, it's also good taking a break. So let's do that. Let's take 14 minutes and come back at 6:50. Hey, we're back. Okay. So at the beginning of class, we augmented our Android application to have this calculator activity. And we saw how you could enter numbers here into these two fields, so 5 plus 6. And when you hit equals, it prints the sum. And we did all of that in our, first of all, our calculator activity view right here. And all of that was backed by our calculate activity Java code, which implements the compute sum method, which is what's invoked when you click the button. And we saw how we could use the find view by ID, and then you give it the ID, which is there. Oops, let's in the code. So you give each one of these widgets an ID. If you want to then use it in the Java code, you reference it with the r.id. And Android Studio is super cool. It will tell you all the available sums from that. Oh, it's a text view. What is that? No, that's not what I wanted. I wonder where that text started. No, I wonder where that went. Anyway, and that's what we did so far. So that's an example of how to add widgets to an activity, and then how to interact with those widgets in Java code. Any questions on that before we look at something else? Anything pop up over break? Oh. Okay. There's another widget that I'd like to explore right now. That's called a list view. Now, a list view is a widget that displays, well, a list of data. So let's see here. Let me find one of those. I'll say list view. There it is. And I'm just going to put that here. And then I'm going to rearrange things. And what's going to be in this list view is, well, we'll see that in a minute, actually. Sorry, let me move this here. How do I do the constraints? Constraint one. Here, like that. Nope. And then this. There we go. Now I got my list view here. I'll make that a little bit taller. Oops. Maybe not. Move all that up. Oh no, what just happened? Oh, I see, my list view becomes invisible. Okay, cool. So I've got my list view. And I'll just see that here in my XML. My list view here. Oh, it's complaining about some stuff. Oops, what is it complaining about? Missing constraints. Oh, why didn't it put the constraints? Well, it should have them. I wonder what constraints it doesn't like. Layout constraint, top of, bottom of. Oh, do we need left and right? It's got width, it's got height. Interesting. Oh, layout editor, absolute X. I don't think I want that. Huh. Constraint start, top. It's got top of. Oh, actually, here's a good example of. What's this? Plus ID? Huh. I didn't think you needed the plus here, but okay. Oh wait, text view. I see. Oh, this is the. Okay, right. That's what text view is. Huh. Okay. Well, let's just see what that see what that looks like. That could be super ugly. I have to admit, for me, like the most difficult thing is like laying out all of the widgets. Once you sort of do that, then the rest is just sort of Java code, which to me seems pretty straightforward. So if you find yourself that takes a while, well, there might be a list view here. It might just be empty. Okay, let's put something in it though. Okay, well, so built and everything. So maybe it's okay that that thing is complaining. Okay, so we have this list view, and we're going to get an ID. Now, this is going to display all of the sums that we've calculated in our calculator. So as we go back and forth between the calculator and the main window, we're going to keep track of all the sums. So we're going to call this sums. Oops. Now, a list view, let's see, here in the main activity, so the list view is backed by something called an adapter. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in the, I have a whole bunch of slides about all of this. So you can read up more on it then. But what you do is the following. So I'm going to get my list view, and I'm going to call this view. I'm going to call it list view. And so I'm going to say find view by ID, r.id.sums. And I want to say list view.set adapter. Now this takes something called a list adapter. And a list adapter is basically something that stores a bunch of items that are displayed in the list. It makes more sense once you see it. And so I'm going to create, actually before I do that, I guess I got to create the adapter. So there's something called an array adapter. And let's see, what's going to be displayed in here is be sums, and so these will be integers. And we'll call this sums. This is going to be a new array adapter. Array adapter takes a context, and so that'll be this. And then this is kind of a funny thing, but it uses this like template widget to populate itself, and this is kind of magic here. So just trust me on this one. It's like r.layout, and there's a simple sorry, r.layout dot. Oh, come on, there's more than that. It's not r.layout. Simple list item. Oh, maybe this is the wrong. No, that's the resource. Oh, I know why. Because it's not R. It's Android.R. Right. It's not the R from my application. It is. There you go. So this simple list item 1. So there's resources for your application, and then there's resources for the entire Android runtime system, or the entire Android runtime system. And you use that one. So this is a little piece of magic, and it's sort of like, this is like, if you go and look at the nodes, this is what you do. So simple list item just means like, hey, here's a blank widget that I'm going to use to sort of like a blueprint in which to display things. And now what you can do is you can say sums dot, you can add, or you can add all. So I'm just going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and I'm going to use my sums as my adapter for my list view. And now when I launch my application, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, it looks like 5 got cut off. Can I scroll? Yeah, I can scroll down by clicking on it. So now I've got this list of numbers. Again, how you do that is you create one of these list views, you put that in the UI. That is the UI widget, but this list view delegates off to this adapter object to say, well, what exactly do I display? And what do I display? Well, it's going to be an array of integers, and so then I just add a bunch of integers to it and I display it. So again, this is something that you might use in your Project 5 to display things, and that's how you do it. Let's commit those changes. Display a list of integers, in the main activity. Okay. Now, ultimately, I don't want to display just a static list of numbers. I want to display the sums that are computed by the calculator. So what I want to do is I want to then do the calculator, and I want to say 1 plus 2 equals 3, and then I think I want to add a button that says, hey, go back to the main activity, but by the way, here is the sum that was returned. So now I need to, I need to add that. So let's add that button. So I will go to my calculator. Actually, here's my calculator activity. After this linear layout here, I'll use the designer. I want to add a new button. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. Nice. And this button here is going to be called ID. I'll get to that later. Text. And I'm going to say return to main. And oops, I want to get that centered. I'll do that just by with these constraints. Oh, come on, you gotta find it just right. There you go. Or maybe not. How come that doesn't? How come it's not lining up right? Let's get rid of this. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I broke it. There we go. See if I can set. Nope. Oh, that's so weird. Let's go. Okay, I got. Look at the XML. It's complaining here. What doesn't it like? Missing constraints. What do you need? The bottom of linear layout. I'll get rid of this. And I'll change this to return to main. And I'll create a string resource for it. But now it still doesn't like it. So I'll talk in a sing-song voice. That's really messed up. Well, how come I can't? What do I do here? Yeah. That's the thing that gets it. Sorry, probably on the right side, you were saying, yeah? Yeah? Oh, this thing here? Oh, that's neat. Yeah. Oh, here you go. Constraints, start, apparent, blah, blah, blah. Can I add more? No. I think I want to do is I want to. Oh, there you go. Oh, now that worked. Wonder why that worked. Okay. Sorry, here again. I'm not that good at this. Cool. That seems to be more of what I want. Okay. So okay, so then when it's actually on the on click here, when I do that, I want to say return to main, and then I will. I can't add it from here. That's so weird. Go to the code button. Oops, I didn't get it. Okay. Wait, button dot on click. That's not deprecated, is it? That's weird. Whatever I was saying it was. Okay, so now return to main. Here I am in the calculator. When I return to main, if I call the finish method on the activity, then that will close the activity. So let's launch that and see how it goes. So launch calculator, return to main. Okay, cool. So that does that. Now, when I return to main, I want to tell it what the sum is. So I guess the first thing I need to do is I need to set the I need this method to know what the sum is, which means when I compute it up here, I need to save it. So I'm going to put this into a field. I'm going to call it sum here. Is that going to screw things up? No, it's not. Okay, cool. And now I've got it here. So now I can use this dot sum. What is this complaining about? No, I'm not going to do that. And now when I finish, I want to tell the activity that launched this, hey, here's what the result of this activity is. Here's what the sum is. And so the way that I do that is I use an intent. So I'm going to create an intent. And it's now this is going to be an intent to launch another activity. Instead, it's going to be just a new intent. And here I want the intent to have a payload. And so I want to call. I want to say set. Set data. Yeah, set data. Well, it only takes a URI. That's not right. I want to say set int. Yeah. Oh, it's an extra. Extra. So get by, isn't there a set? Put extra, that's what it's called. Put extra. Okay. Now with the intent, you can give it this extra payload. And here I want to call it the sum. So I will have, oops. I'm going to have a constant here called extra sum. And here I'm just going to put this dot sum. Yep, that's going to be that. I'll create that constant. Create constant here. Let's call it sum. And I want it to be package protected. I'm going to use it in a different class. And now I'm also going to say set results with that intent. So the result, and there's a, what is it, result okay? Yep. Constant, and then I'm going to put that intent. So basically, when an activity can have a result, meaning that, hey, I go and I launch the activity, I do some stuff, and then it created some value, and I'm going to store that by saying set result. I suppose I could put that up here too in the compute sum. Maybe I should do that. I don't know. Okay, right, and then when clicking equals, it could return yes. Although I don't know if that's a very good user experience, because like, what if it's not the sum that you want? But yes. Well, yeah. So I think this is the behavior that I want, is to be able to set this result. And let's just make sure that it still works. Relaunching it. Launch calculator. So 3 plus 6 equals 9. Oops. And now say return to main. Okay, that seemed to work, didn't crash or anything like that. But I don't do anything with that result. So now in order to get at that result, I need to change the way that we launch the activity. And so here, instead of just saying start activity, you say start activity for result. Okay, this is deprecated. There might be a better way of doing it, but this is the way I know how to do it. This is there's also this notion of like a request code. And so you give it a code, so something like, oh, I don't know, get sum from calculator. And so then we'll create a constant for this. Because you could have multiple of these, 42, whatever. Do it that way. And so now that you start the result. And now there is a method that you override called onActivityResult. Oops, activity result. And this is a method that is called when the main activity is launched as the result of another activity, and it'll get passed in things like the request code, which is this guy right here, right? That was the request code. Oops, the result code, which is that result OK that we saw, and then any intent, any data that is associated with that. As a matter of fact, let's call that, let's just make this a little bit more clear. Instead of intent, we should probably call this data. That's what it's passing. It's passing extra data. And it's cool that they reuse the intent object. It's already got all of these fields and stuff, and so it just uses this to pass between the two. So now on activity result, which means that, hey, this activity was like is being displayed in the result of, because another activity has finished, you have to call the super for all the bookkeeping and stuff. But then you say, hey, listen, if the request code is the one that I care about, which is get sum from calculator, and the result code equals result OK, so meaning that, hey, it returned some good stuff. Oops, extra paren. Then let's get the sum. So the sum is going to be data.getExtra, get int extra. And the name is going to be, well, the name from the calculator activity, which is extra sum. So we'll say calculator activity dot extra sum. It needs default value, okay, 0, which I suppose we could probably check to see if it. Actually, how do you do that? Do you say has int extra? Oops, what is this complaining about? Doesn't like, oh, may produce null pointer exception because data might be null. Okay. And oops. And data not equal to null. So get the sum. And what are we going to do? Well, we're going to add it to our list of sums, which means we don't want to initialize this with the numbers anymore. And in order to use the sum field, we're just going to make that a field, initialize in the current method, and then we will say this dot sums dot add, and then our sum. Yep, I think that's about it. Okay, so what have we done? Well, we're saying, hey, when this main activity is launched as a result of another activity exiting, check to see if that activity provided us with results. And if it's the result, if it's the request that we asked for, and if it's an okay result and it passes some data, go get the extra data from that and add it. So let's see what happens. So now when the app is launched, there are no sums. So we'll launch the calculator, and we'll say that 2 plus 4 equals 6. And then, oh, we went back, and there it is, 6. Let's try it again. 5 plus 4 equals 9. Hide the keyboard, click return to main, and there's the 9. So this is an example of passing data between activities. You have one activity, the calculator activity, that produces some result. In this case, it's a sum, right? And we store it in the field so that we can reference it in different methods. And then when you click return, you get that sum, you put it into an intent, and you say, hey, the result of this activity, and now that's exiting, is that, and then you finish. Notice that your objects are, well, they don't call each other directly, right? You have these separate activities, and it's not like you get one activity and you call a method of another. Instead, you rely on these mechanisms like setting the result and then having this callback for on activity results and the way I guess you launch it to pass data back and forth. This keeps your objects decoupled. It provides a consistent mechanism that Android can support for any activity and then optimize around. And so then just keeps your code again decoupled and nice and cleaner. Yeah. Yes. Well, or rely on the back button, or rely on the triangle button, right? So Although I think, let's see here, there's, yeah, either the triangle button or I think there's some like default activities that have like a little back arrow, but yeah. Oh, well, you can keep launching back and forth. There is a stack, I guess, and then probably at some point it'll overflow or use up, probably hold on to too many resources or something. But so like for realsy, yes. For Project 5, I mean, it's okay if you end up with sort of like a whole stack of screens. Yeah. Yeah, you could totally rely on the back triangle button, and that'll be okay. I'll figure that out. I mean, that's intuitive, right? I mean, Android, that's how some Android apps work. But that's like the back button in the browser. It seems a little gauche to me, but I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, either way, I'll figure it out either way, and so maybe it's just a matter of preference, or maybe there are like style guides or interaction guides that would provide a better indication of when you should rely on the native or the built-in back button versus using the using something in app. Good questions. Okay. So here we let's see here. Send the sum back from the calculator and display it in a list view. Okay. What was that? Oh, back button doesn't call finish. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. And then that might be okay in many places. Okay. So one more thing that I want to do. You can click on elements in the list view, and I want to do something. I'll just. Oh, you know what I could do? Do I know how to do that? Do I know how to do that? Nah, never mind. I'm just going to. I just want it so that when I click on one of these elements, it just pops a little toast to demonstrate that we can do that. So what I'm going to do, oh yeah, I've got list view right here. I've set the adapter. And so the way what I can do is I can add an on context, where was that? Add, oh no, sorry, it's set list view on item click listener. There we go, on item click listener. So here's an example of setting an event handler in Java code. So say new on item click listener. We can, and it gives you things like, okay, here is the adapter view, which is the list view, the thing that was clicked. View, what's the difference between view and adapter view? I don't remember. Int, I think this is that's the index there. What's that long L? I don't remember. I can go look, I suppose. Oh wait, no, I probably won't look at this. No, I do not want to decompile it. Okay, it doesn't give me the source code there. Oh, can I download it? Ah, okay. Thank you, Android Studio. Now it's downloading all of the Android source code, which actually might be a good thing to do, right? I mean, this is how you can view the Java docs really easily. But it's got a ways to go. And it's displaying a lot of text. There we go. That's nice and fast. Yes. Weird. Okay. Oh, well, unfortunately, it does not. Okay. Oh, it's indexing. That maybe just hasn't finished yet. Okay. Well, anyway, my patience has run dry. There we go. I'm pretty sure this is the index into the array. And so then what's adapter view give me? What have I got here? Add view. Is there get count, get item at position? Yeah, that's probably what I want. Yeah. Okay. Get item position index. And then what does this return? So sorry. This method is invoked when you click on the on an element in that list view, and we will call this sum. And there should be an adapter view of strings. Does that work? Can I do that? This doesn't have a. Doesn't. Nah. Never mind. Okay. I think that's what that does. Get item position was return an object. I wonder what that is. Okay, let's just put up a toast, and the context will be main activity dot this. The let's see here, clicked on sum, and then the duration will be toast dot long length long show. I'm just curious what that's going to do. Oh, and by the way, you can turn this into a lambda. See here, launch calculator. 3 plus 4 equals 7. Back and back. Got 7. When I click on 7, clicked on 7. Oh, that's neat. Okay, so actually, yeah. So maybe it. Here's what I can do. I can debug this. Why didn't I do that? I think I had before. So now, if I click debug, waiting for debugger. It is now that. So I will launch the calculator. I will put in my sum. I will now click on this, and now here I am in the debugger. Okay, so index. Okay, and so now when I say get item at position, it's an integer. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I will cast this to an integer. And then cool, that's what we want. Well, that was pretty easy. So anyway, here's how you do that, right? You instead of setting the which I suppose you could do, we could probably set this in the XML, couldn't we? Let's see if we can. I don't know if that's better or not. Let's just see. Here in the main, we've got the list view, and we can say on. No, actually, it's set. What is it called? It's on item click. Can you actually do that? Maybe you can't set it in XML. Let's see here. Search for click listener. Nope. Click. Okay, so wait, item. Nope. Okay, so maybe you can't, and that's fine. Yep, you probably have to do that from Java. Okay. So here in the Java, we say, great, we've got our list view object. We're going to set the on item click listener. This takes, when it's clicked, there's a callback method that receives several things, including, what's the value of L? 0? I have no idea what that means. Including the array adapter, and then the view, okay, material text view, okay, I have no idea. Index is 0, and then L is 0. I don't know what that means. But anyway, okay, cool. And so you can then get the item at the position with the given index that returns a 0. That's the thing that is in the, actually returns your sum, which was 7 or something, right? 9. So this is how you can then get information about what was clicked there. Okay. So when an item in the list view is clicked, pop-up test. Value. Oh, and I want to continue. I want to, I guess, stop debugging. Did I actually quit the application? Oh no, there was phone bill down there. I don't want app info. I don't know what that is. Super old. Okay. Oh, that was my test. Sure, of course. Oh, there it was. Actually, wait. Do I want the green one or the blue one? I think I want the blue one. All right. Anyway, one last thing that I want to demonstrate, and that's reading and writing to files. So over time, we'll build up a list of sums. And I want to write the sums that have been calculated out to a file, and then when I launch the activity, I want to read what was written and use that to populate the that sums list here. So let's make all this big so we can see it. So here, when we create our array adapter, when we initialize it, I want to say sums.addAll, and we'll just do that. And then we'll say read sums from file. We'll create this method here. This will be a collection of integers. And then as we add the sums.file, I want to say write sums to file. We'll do that here. Okay. So now there's a link in the assignment that goes into more detail. But Android is a real operating system. There's a file system there, and actually you can explore the file system by going to the device file explorer right here. And every application has its own. Let's see here. I think it's that one. Actually, sorry, data. Every application has its own directory with all sorts of data in it, and you can access that file, that directory, data directory. Oh yeah, it's Java IO file, by saying this dot get datadir. So is there get file filesdir? I don't remember what the difference between filesdir and datadir is. Let's use datadir. And actually, well, anyway, so then we can get that. Now we can just use the regular old Java file IO API. But by the way, I guess I really haven't stressed this, but I do want to, explicitly say that we're using the regular JDK APIs. Even though you're running on Android, you can still use all the Java classes that you're used to, which is very convenient, right? Because you've spent 8 weeks learning about all this stuff, and so then you can continue that. So we want to write to the sums of the file. Great. We're going to create a print writer. Actually, we need to have that file. We'll call it sums file. Sums file equals new file in the data directory, and we'll call it sums.txt. And then we'll create a new print writer. A new print writer around a new file writer of sums.dir. Sums file. Just gonna throw an IO exception or something. And let's see here. I'm just going to put that there, and we'll have to fix it up later. But anyway, so here in our safe try, we're simply going to say this dot sums dot, let's see here, get item. Is there an easy way to, no, there's no easy way to iterate over all of that. Okay, fine. For int I equals 0, while I is less than this dot sums dot get count I plus plus, and it'll be string sum equals this dot sums dot get item. Oh, right, they're integers, not sums. Duh. Get item I, and we'll say pw.println of I of the sum, and so that'll print it out. And actually, let's just do that much. Oh, here, right. Here, if we get an IO exception, we'll just make a toast. And let's see here, this, and then I'll just lays out and say e.get message, and then duration long, oops, length long, show, nice. Okay, let's just run this and see what happens. Oops, I gotta rerun it. So what I've done now is I've just used this API, to get the data during. It's used plain old Java.io APIs like you've been using since Project 2 to write the sums one per line into a text file. So it should be relaunching the app, or maybe not. Oh, did it blow up? Oh, yeah. Did I? No. Oh, because this is null. Sorry. New array list. Once more with feeling. So actually, that's what happens when like your app crashes. And we probably actually, if I'd thought about it, we could have looked at the log cat to see, so a null pointer exception would have gone by. Actually, I wonder if I can search for that null pointer exception. Oh, yeah, there it is. So you get a on main activity, add all. Yeah, okay, right. Okay, the lines have changed, I think, or they're one off or whatever. But this is where because read sums from file return null, you end up getting a null pointer exception in the add all method of array adapter, and then that blew up. But you can find this out by looking at the log cat output here. Ooh, that's way too much output. So give me a headache. Okay, so let's launch the calculator and say 5 plus 4 equals 9. And now we return here, we've got 9. And then if we go and look at the file explorer, we need to sync. I can't remember how we actually let's do something else. Let's debug it and find out where it put the darn thing, because maybe I saw the data directory. Let's see here. Oh, I wonder if I just need to expand. If I do this again, nope. Would be in cache. It certainly would be in test now. Wait, there's local. Oh, there's a temp directory too. That's something else. Sorry, I'm getting lost here. Let's try this again, because I don't know exactly where it puts this file, so let's use the debugger to find out. Calculator, 4 plus 5 equals 9. Return to main, here we go. Data directory, data user 0. Oh, nice. Data, oh, wait, data user. Oh, interesting. How come I don't see that? Slash data user 0. Well, I wonder if that's somehow hidden here. Or is there something else I'm not seeing? Nope. I'm pretty sure it's under data. Darn, where'd it go? Am I missing something? Huh. Well, where is it? Maybe data directory, yeah, slash data, just got the emulator. And so then if I sort by date, will it show me what's been modified? I can't sort by date. Darn you. Oh, the app. No, this is something else. Huh. Why am I not seeing it as I would expect? Well, I haven't written anything to it yet. Well, maybe that would have something to do with it. I hasn't created it yet. Oh, and maybe, okay, so now, do I see something here? Can I refresh, synchronize? There it is. Okay, that was the problem. I hadn't written anything to it yet, and now that I've synchronized it, I see it. So there's my sums.txt, and when I open it up, sure enough, it's got the number 9 in it. Question. Oh. So Android Studio can see the emulator. Oh yes. Yeah. So it attaches to so Android Studio attaches to the emulator, and actually, I mean, this isn't just because of Android Studio. The emulator lets programs, look at its log, cat its log, and get all sorts of information about it, including what the file system is. So yeah, so you can use you can use Android Studio to do that. And here we opened up sums.txt, and it's got the number 9 in it. That's super cool. Okay, good. Yep. Yeah, and this is in the Device Explorer, which is down here by the emulator. Okay, so we've done that much. And now let's implement that read from file. So then this will be our sums. And now, actually, I'm going to put this into its own method called no. What? Nope. Can I? Why won't it let me? Fine. I'm just going to inline this. I'm going to call this a method. I call it get sums file. Inline that variable because now I'm going to use it up in the read, and I'm going to say file sums file equals get sums file, and now I'm going to have a buffered reader. Or actually, I could use files. Maybe I'll just do that. Can I use the files API? Files, yes. Lines, yay. Of sums file dot toPath, and then what doesn't it like? Oh yeah, throws an IO exception. No big deal. Lines, and again throws and then, well, actually, it's a stream. Okay, someone wants some lambdas. So we're going to say, okay, we're going to take each one there, and we're going to not filter, we're going to map each one of those to a new function that goes string to an object. Actually, it's not going to be string to an object, it's going to be string to an integer. And then it's the apply method is going to take a string, turn it to an integer, and so it's going to be integer. So I'm going to say return integer dot parsent of that string, and then nothing up my sleeve. Oh wait a second, someone's asking a question. Not pure lambda. Oh, I'm getting there. Don't you worry. I summon the empower of IntelliJ to replace not only with lambda. Oh, how about also then replace it with a method reference, and then just say return. Oh, what does like with that map? It says returns. Well, that's fine. and then say collect to a, what do I do? Collectors dot to list, and then I just say return that. Lambdas. But it's all in one line. Ooh, some Lisp programmer is mildly bemused. No, okay. So what is this doing here? We say, and here again, I think this kind of sometimes can be hard to read. We get that sums file. We're going to use this file.lines, which basically says, hey, take this file, parse it as lines of text, return each one of those lines as a stream of strings. A stream is this, a stream, potentially infinite stream of strings. And what do? We do some Lambda stuff. So we're going to map each element to basically say, hey, for each element in this string, send it to integer.parseInt, which will turn it into an integer, and that returns then a stream of, stream of integers. And then I want to turn that stream of integers into a list, and so you use the collect method, and you send it the collectors.toList, which is something that takes, what it does? It takes a bunch, well, it consumes from a stream and puts it into a list of things and returns it. Shorthand. Which, once you know what that means, it's a little easier to read. Okay. Here we've got to have a try catch. And again, actually, I'm going to call this toast exception. I don't know why it tries to do that. Toast exception, and then this up here, I'm going to say toast exception E. Okay. And so now, when I relaunch my application, oh, there's 9. It came back. Sorry, I impressed myself here. And so then 11 plus 5 equals 16. And so now we go back and we've got 9 and 16. And now when I kill my app and I start it up again, 9 and 16. File persistence. Anyway, and that's how you do that. And so then, even though this is very different than the programs that you've been using, there's really not, there's some magic, but there's not a lot of magic. And doing things like writing to a file is actually pretty much the same as you would in a command line program. So anyway, that is the last thing that I wanted to show off, and I hope what we've seen tonight gives you some ideas of what you might be able to do with your projects in terms of providing functionality for your phone bill program. So persist the sums in a text file. Anything else that I can attempt to show off? I might have to go off script, which should be super awkward. But or any other questions about what you've seen tonight? So using start activity for result is okay. Yes, even though it's deprecated, it works. We're using an older version of the API anyway. So I think it's simple. I don't remember exactly what it's replaced with. Does it say? Does it tell me? Deprecated use register for activity results. Oh, that thing. Yeah, it seems a little. That seems like more work. You can use whatever you want, though. Just as long as it works. Hey, if you want to use something newer because you want to learn something newer, great. If you want to use this deprecated thing because it works, great. Hey, it's due next week, right? Great. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So your the documentation isn't popping up for you? I don't know. Maybe it's because I just downloaded the source. I'm not sure. Maybe. That's a good point. I don't know if that. Oh, this is just from the JDK. Yeah, this is from Android. Yeah, so okay, so you got to call this, and so then here, yeah. Hmm. So yeah, I don't know if there's any magic to get that stuff. No. Any other topics you'd like to cover tonight? Because that's all I got. A mercifully brief one. Okay then. Anything? Yep. Off topic's okay with me. What do I think about Kotlin? Oh, yeah. Well, there's a good reason to have Kotlin. Um, Google wants to. Okay, so Java is owned by, was created by Sun Microsystems, owned by Sun Microsystems. Oracle bought Sun. They have some amount of copyright claim over like the Java language and the terminology and everything like that. So uh, maybe not from a technical standpoint, because from a technical standpoint, there's other reasons. I'll get to those for Kotlin. But from like a legal standpoint, having Android say, you can use multiple languages. You can actually develop Android in C# too. I mean, they have different language bindings for the not the Dalvik VM. What is it called now? I forget the name of the VM. But anyway, but I mean, the technical reasons are is that Java is Java. It's an old language. It's got some stumbly syntax and things like that, and Kotlin has some nice features, as from a language standpoint. For this course, we learn Java. I'm not, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, and by the way, learn a new language. If I was, we would be writing HTML and JavaScript probably, right? So I'm not gonna do that to you all with 2 or 3 weeks left in the course. So I think there are some people you can run you can run Kotlin in any JVM. So because it gets compiled down to bytecode. So you can have you could have a like a servlet application. You could have any kind of Java application implemented in Kotlin too. So hey, and if you want to do a uh, if you want to focus and really learn a lot about being an Android developer, yeah, probably would be good to learn Kotlin, because I'm sure there are a lot of Android applications that are written in Kotlin. Yeah, but it's not something that I don't know Kotlin. I can read it, I guess, okay, but I don't know. I couldn't write it. I think it has a fun for a function. That's about all I remember. No, I don't think there are too many people that are ripping out Java and putting it in. I'm sure there are some, and actually I'll talk a little bit more about it next week. I mean, there are lots of languages that run on the JVM. And this was like really popular a while ago, but the JVM is a very solid runtime, very battle tested. There are, it's in like the top 5 runtimes, along with with like the standard C libraries and the .NET runtime, and in terms of being exercised. So because that's so solid, and the JVM folks are working on improving garbage collection, adding more robustness and more observability features, all this good stuff. It's a good choice for a runtime platform. You've got the JDK and all the classes there that are available to you. But there are people that that want something other than the Java programming language, because it can be verbose and there are things people don't like about it. And so then whether it's taking another language like Kotlin or Python and implementing it on there, or there's languages like Groovy, which again, it's a friendlier syntax and you can do more dynamic programming and things like that. Good, if you're into that, fine. I've found that polyglot programming was really popular a long time ago. Well, not a long time, about 10, 15 years ago. And there's something to be said for finding the right tool for the right problem, but there's also challenges that come in an organization where everybody speaks a different language. And what is the cognitive load and the cognitive overhead of having to switch between languages on a fairly regular basis, or finding that because you've got a subset of your developer population that doesn't know this language or has to learn this language, how what is the detriment at a global scope? So I advocate for balancing the amount of the amount of options that people have, because because there's cognitive load and there's overhead, and also here I'm kind of ranting at this point, but there's also things to consider, like, oh look, different languages have different packaging systems and artifact repository formats and things like that. So like if you're a Java shop, there is, it might be easy to go to Groovy. It might be more challenging to go to Python, because not only is it a different language, but there's a whole different stack for managing and building and deploying and Python applications. So, you really need to be careful about like what technology stack you're going to choose, and then being deliberate about providing learning materials for that, and saying, oh, I want to implement everything in Rust. It's like, it's a nice language. It's got lots of good things. It's good for some problems, but do you want yet another language spoken, in your environment? Yeah, Alex? Oh, late days? Yeah, okay. So for the final project, if we still have late days, are we able to use that? Yes, you are. Yeah. So hey, listen, if something comes in at Friday at 5:30, then yeah, I'll promise I'll grade it. Upgrading Gradle? I actually don't. If yeah, I'm trying to think. It might be a problem. I've run into problems before, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I can work around it. It's just I might have to do a little bit more on my end. It'll be okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, and you can probably revert that change, because I'm pretty sure the Gradle version is stored in some file someplace. That's under version control. Also, would be cool to convert unused late days to bonus points, though. That would be cool. I'm not gonna do that. I'm guessing the people that haven't used their late days don't need the bonus points, right? So it's I think it's okay. You can use it in the gift shop. Okay. Anything else? Nope. Okay, then. Well, thank you, everybody, for your time this evening. I hope you found this to be valuable. I'm looking forward to seeing your Project 5. It's always fun to see what creative things people have employed. How about the final exam? We talked about that already. That was the beginning of class, so go back and watch the recording. It's next week during class time. Lots of details in the first 10 minutes of tonight's class. So have a great evening. Have a great week. As always, please reach out on Slack. There's a Project 5 channel for all of your Android stuff. stay cool, stay safe, and if you'd like to show up next week in class to take the final exam, that is an option that's available to you, but it is an option. And again, though, I want to meet people. I like beer, and so we'll do that next week. See you then.